All right, welcome everybody to the relieving menopausal and perimenopausal symptoms naturally. I'm so glad that you are here, and I know I had a few people who couldn't join live, and so I will be happy to send this replay. But we're going to talk about perimenopause and menopausal symptoms and help you kind of navigate if you're not there yet, or maybe if you are and you're wanting to find out some natural remedies. And just want to reassure you, these are normal phases of life. Every woman is going to experience it, but there are some natural remedies for your symptoms. All right. So how to get the most out of this workshop, turn off everything that might be in your background, your email, social media platforms, silence your cell phone, close your door, set aside. I'm hoping it's going to be about 30, maybe 40 minutes at the most. And then at the very end, I'm going to stop the recording and I'll take some questions if anybody has any and all. But have a notebook so you can take some notes and then jot down if you have any questions. And if you stay to the end, I've got a special bonus for you as well. All right, so first, this disclaimer: I am not a doctor, I'm a health and wellness coach, and this information is just for educational purposes. It's not to be used as medical advice. I'm providing it to you so that you can take the information and talk with your own health practitioner about it. And so I always recommend you also talk to your health practitioner before you start any kind of nutritional or lifestyle modifications. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, have you had a loss of menstruation accompanied by some menopausal symptoms or been diagnosed as being in perimenopause or menopause by a doctor? Do you have some frequent symptoms that are impacting the quality of your life? Like mood swings, hot flashes, libido changes, maybe even insomnia, sleep problems. And are you finding it hard to gain control of your symptoms in a natural way without using a lot of medications? Do you also find yourself having to take breaks from social situations because you're having hot flashes and sweating or maybe mood swings, and that wasn't normally you before you seemed to hit a certain period of time? And are you wishing that perimenopause and menopause didn't have to be a struggle every day and that your symptoms were very mild or non-existent? Does the thought of going through these symptoms for years and years fill you with worry or anxiety? And are you struggling with the fact that you're about to enter or you're in the middle of a new phase of life and you just feel out of control? That's not a good feeling, is it? Well, if you would like to be able to kind of navigate perimenopause and menopause with ease and confidence and enjoy this time of life, then you're in the right spot. And do you feel confident that your symptoms are not going to affect the quality of your life and your relationships? I know that's one thing that a lot of women worry about. And I hope you're excited about learning some natural approaches to perimenopause and menopause, and that you can have a plan of action. It's going to be based on your own symptoms and it's going to be unique to you. So if you answered yes to any of those, you're in the right spot. Help is here. Perimenopause and menopause are natural to every single woman. And contrary to what you might be thinking, though, what many women believe, they don't have to control your life. Okay. You can learn some natural and you can combine it with some conventional medical remedies that can help you put yourself in the driver's seat of your health. So if you want to learn about how to approach it and how to manage those unwanted symptoms, you're in the right spot. And if you don't want those symptoms to take over your happiness, your relationships, and your self-confidence, then you are in the right place today. If you would like to learn some manageable tips and strategies to navigate those symptoms and help support yourself with a balanced mood and overall health, then you are in the right place. And if you want to improve your relationships rather than letting perimenopause and menopause define those, you are in the right place. And as I mentioned, if you stay to the end, I have a special bonus just for you for being here live with me today. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what perimenopause and menopause are. Sometimes women are kind of embarrassed because they think they should automatically know what that means, what is signaling they're about to go into one of those phases, and they don't want to ask anybody. I mean, they can Google it, but they still get a whole lot of information. So I want to try to help simplify that for you today. We're going to talk about estrogen and some other hormones and how that relates to the perimenopausal and menopausal time. And I'm going to explain how the hormonal changes affect your life, and it can contribute to the cravings, and that is really not your fault. It's due to those hormonal fluctuations. We're also going to talk about the difference between conventional hormone treatment and hormonal replacement therapy, or it actually is some new terms that I just found out about. One of them is called menopausal hormonal treatment, and so they're just kind of using a different name, but we're going to talk about the differences in those today. Also, want to explain the impact that stress can have on your hormones, and we're going to talk about some ways you can manage those naturally. We're going to also talk about how you can avoid those hot flashes, which can be typical of this time period, and how to take charge of your mindset and use some mindset exercises, which can be a benefit to any of us, right? And we're going to talk about some dietary and lifestyle changes that can help reduce those symptoms and improve your quality of life. So first, just a little bit about me in case you don't know my story. So I'm Leah Cheshire. I'm licensed as a speech language pathologist. I homeschooled my children through high school. I'm also National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach. And I got into it just due to some family and some personal health issues. And I went back to school and became trained and took some advanced courses as well. But currently, I work with women who primarily are over 40. They have fatigue, brain fog, trouble losing weight. Some have autoimmune and digestive issues, some thyroid issues. Many of them are in the perimenopausal hormone menopausal stages, and so that's one reason why this topic is near and dear to my heart. And I've also walked where you may be right now. I'm on the other side of menopause now, but I did struggle. I remember the weight, and I was doing everything I could, and I just couldn't get off those last 10 pounds, it seemed like. Also was having hot flashes and night sweats. I don't know if anybody was like me, where I needed a blanket one minute and the next minute I was cranking down the AC, and it was driving my husband crazy, besides myself and all. But through my training, my research, my experience, both personally and with clients, I've been able to use some more natural remedies as well as supplement with some conventional remedies. And I'll talk about those in a little bit, so that I can feel a little bit better. And many of my clients do as well. But I really believe that education and knowing what to expect and knowing what options you have out there are really the first step. So in my business, we work on nourishing your body, mind, and soul, because I don't believe you can separate that. So we work on physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and relational health. And I've had many women who are very discouraged about what's going on with their bodies. They just want to give up, eat a whole gallon of ice cream, or in my case, maybe a humongous chocolate bar. I don't know if you've been there. But the weight gain, the moodiness, the cravings, the hot flashes, the forgetfulness, the aches and pains, maybe hair loss, low libido, and dry skin are very common symptoms during the hormonal fluctuations of perimenopause and menopause. But many of the women who have followed the strategies and the remedies in my programs, they start feeling better as they consistently put it into practice, and they just really feel more nourished, and they decrease their symptoms. And I want that for you as well. So let's first talk about what is perimenopause and menopause. So let's kind of define them, right? Menopause is defined as a complete year, so 12 full months without any menstrual bleeding. It's in the absence of a condition like if you've had surgery that may cause your bleeding to stop, or with hormonal medication. Now, it's very natural and it's going to produce hormonal changes that are causing all those unwanted symptoms we talked about. And it can cause, besides the ones I just mentioned, it can also cause loss of bone density, which is very important. We don't want that, right? And now, if you've had a hysterectomy or any kind of removal of your uterus and or ovaries, then that can put you into a transition. It might even be earlier as well. But this time period can also be a little bit kind of upsetting to women because they're transitioning, their whole life might be transitioning. Maybe your children are leaving home for college or work. Some women unfortunately go through a separation and divorce during this time period. Maybe they aren't sure what they're going to do for their job if they have stayed at home raising the kids. So there's the emotional issues are just as important as the physical in leading to all of the things that we're having to deal with and all. So we want to come up with some realistic strategies that are going to help you. Now, perimenopause is that transition time before menopause actually begins. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So why does menopause actually happen? Well, as I mentioned, it's a normal part of aging. And during this time, your reproductive cycle starts to slow down and prepares to stop. The ovaries are starting to produce less estrogen, and then they're going to completely stop releasing eggs into your fallopian tubes. And so then once you are completely in menopause, then you will not be able to become pregnant. But as you move into menopause, you may start gradually feeling some of these symptoms. This is the perimenopausal stage, okay? So you may have those hot flashes, changes in menstruation. Maybe you go a month or two without a period and then you have one. Or maybe you go 6 or 7 months without a period and then you have one. Maybe you go 11 months without a period and you're thinking, oh, I'm in menopause, and then you have one. Well, that period is, if you have a period, then you have to wait a whole another 12 months to officially be in menopause. But it can happen, it usually happens between like mid 40s to mid 50s. However, there have been some women as young as their late 30s who have gone into it, and some even like at 60. But the perimenopausal stage and into when you are completely in menopause, it can last anywhere from 7 to 15 years, which is a long time if you aren't aware of what's going to happen and you just feel like all of a sudden you've changed, and maybe your spouse or your family or friends are thinking, what in the world happened? But it's due to those hormones, okay? And so that's one reason why I wanted to do this masterclass, just to prepare you for what's coming, or to let you know that you are not abnormal. This is a normal period of life, but to let you know there are some solutions. So you may be wondering, what are some of the signs and symptoms of menopause and perimenopause? Well, there are a lot, as you can see on your screen right now. Some of them are the spotty, irregular menstrual cycles, hot flashes, insomnia, unexplained weight gain. Maybe you've been eating the same way you've been eating for 5 or 10 years, exercising the same, and all of a sudden you have this middle weight gain, this belly fat, and you can't get rid of it. That's common for this time period. Maybe you have vaginal or bladder problems, dryness, or urinary infections increase, or you have that sense of urgency, decreased fertility, loss of energy, change in cholesterol levels. It's common that if you are getting your labs done once a year, your cholesterol levels might be higher than they used to be when you were in perimenopause and menopause. Maybe you're kind of forgetful, and maybe you start having more facial hair. All that is, those are normal symptoms during this time period. Now, every woman is going to experience everything differently. Just like no fingerprint is the same, no woman is going to experience the same kind of perimenopause and menopausal stage, even in the same family. There are sisters and mothers and daughters who maybe they're a little bit similar with some of them, but some of them are different completely. Some women may have very mild symptoms where they don't even notice, and all of a sudden they don't have a period and they don't have it ever again. Other women might have very severe where they have a lot of these symptoms, and and they just feel like their whole world has changed. And most women are somewhere in between. In fact, I was reading some statistics earlier, and they were talking about 20% of women are at the mild to almost no symptoms, 20% are in the severe, and then the majority are in between somewhere. Now, can you get tested for menopause? Well, you can, but sometimes it's not necessary. Your doctor can probably just diagnose you given your symptoms, and especially if you have gone 12 whole months without a period, right? And if you list your symptoms when you're in perimenopause, they may be able to tell you you're in that as well. Some doctors might run a blood test, and you may have seen that. Maybe you've had that done. I know I have had that done in the past, but it's the FSH, the follicular stimulating hormone, and they may have even run estrogen levels to see where you are as well. So estrogen dominance, let's talk about this because sometimes this is a little bit confusing for women. So during perimenopause, the first hormone that is going to start decreasing is actually progesterone. Now, this is the hormone that helps you sleep better. It kind of gives you a calming effect. So you can see why your anxiety might go up and you may have more trouble sleeping if this hormone is decreasing. What happens though is because the progesterone is decreasing, your estrogen seems to be increasing. And so that's why it may seem like you have estrogen dominance. And that's also one of the primary reasons why women gain weight. Their progesterone levels are lower, their estrogen levels are higher. And it's kind of like a ratio, and you want that fine balance between the two. Now, it also can, the estrogen dominance, progesterone being so low, can cause the hair loss, the trouble sleeping, as I mentioned, the mood swings, or even headaches can be common due to these hormones kind of being out of balance. So we really want to get those more in balance so that you can feel better. Now, how can menopause affect your life? Well, I thought these were interesting. So, a health and wellness survey of women were conducted, and for women having menopausal symptoms, and the women having the symptoms reported significantly higher work impairment and quality of life than those who did not. And the average age was about 49. And also, they reported higher levels of depression, anxiety, and joint stiffness and joint pain. Those are some of the stronger symptoms. And so, I'm sure it doesn't surprise you that all of that can affect different areas of your life. We know that physical and mental, emotional, spiritual, relational, and financial, all that is interconnected. So if you're having hormonal fluctuations that are making you physically and mentally feel bad, it's going to affect every area of your life. So that's why I'm going to talk about some other things that you can do and all. So the great news is menopause, I'm often asked, can we treat it? Well, it might not be a typical treatment like you think of as going to the doctor when you have maybe an infection and they give you an antibiotic for that. The treatment, because it's a naturally occurring part of life, the treatment might be really just managing your symptoms. Now, yes, you can use some prescription medication, but there are also some natural remedies as well. And that's why you want to kind of keep the lines of communication open with your health practitioner so that they know how you're feeling. Most women do best with a combination. So here are some types of hormonal therapy. You've probably heard about these. Estrogen therapy, there are patches and creams, there are pills, capsules you can take. There's also vaginal estrogen that you can insert to relieve the dryness as well. And it also helps with some other symptoms caused by estrogen as well. Basically, you are increasing your estrogen levels, and that relieves some of the symptoms and side effects and all. Now, there are bioidentical hormones for both progesterone and estrogen. And the progesterone, there are creams for those, and there are some pills. You can get them compounded. There are some over the counter as well. This Premarin that you see listed, that is an estrogen that is synthetic. It is not a compounding at all. Most doctors will order these hormones for you if they want to run lab tests, usually to see and combine that with where your symptoms are. And there also are antidepressants you can take that help with your mood. There's blood pressure medicine that does help the hot flashes. And there's osteoporosis medication to help with bone loss, as well as some supplements you can take. Now, some newer types of hormonal therapy, and you may have heard this as well, doctors are inserting hormonal pellets into hips of women. And these are bioidentical hormones. It's estradiol, which is a form of estrogen, and testosterone. And it has to be inserted in the doctor's office or outpatient every few months. Now, some women do great on these, and it helps with some weight as well. Some women experience side effects like mood swings, anxiety, hair problems. Some women have weight gain, unfortunately, and the dosage cannot be adjusted because once the pellet is in you, in your hip, it just has to eventually be absorbed by your body. And, then it's, your body uses it up. And then in another few months, they'll insert. And if that dose didn't seem appropriate, they can adjust it. But I think it's like every 3 or 4 months. But so kind of once it's in there, you just have to give it a few months. The pellets are not FDA approved, but the hormones in them are, which I thought that was kind of interesting as well. So what are some risks with hormonal therapy? Well, it's a very debated topic. You can go online, you can go to PubMed. I mean, it is up and down depending upon who you're talking to. Some people say there are there are some long-term usage problems with estrogen being associated with cardiovascular risk as well as cancer risk. Others say there is no problem with the cardiovascular or little to no or causing cancer. But there are some health risks if you don't get some hormonal support, right? I mean, you don't want to, some people are in severe stages and they do need some medical intervention as well. But that's why I said it's important for you to learn about everything that's out there so that you can make an educated choice for you and for your own body. Most doctors will recommend first the safest, which is the diet, vitamins and minerals, and some other lifestyle changes that we're going to talk about as well. So conventional treatments with what many of the conventional treatments say is you pinpoint your hot flash triggers. You try to figure out what's causing it. It might be foods. It could be something like caffeine. So you want to limit that. You want to find ways to relax, so you can get better sleep. They might say, find ways to cool down. I mean, these are kind of common sense. Carry water, drink plenty of water, dress lighter, even if it's in the winter and you live up north and you're hot. Don't go into crowds because, of course, that's going to make you hotter. They do talk about vaginal lubricants you can take that you buy over the counter. You can strengthen your pelvic floor with some Kegel exercises. Avoid smoking, which to me, that's a no-brainer for anybody. Heavy alcohol consumption can also cause further symptoms, make them worse. Eating a balanced diet, no to low sugar, and some exercise. And so those are kind of the basics that your doctor will probably tell you, and those are all good ideas, right? Now, some natural ways, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about these, is eating a diet that's rich in healthy, whole, fresh food and low sugar to low processed and prepackaged foods. That's really best for anybody. And when you're going through perimenopause and menopause, those foods are going to be nutrient rich and just help you feel better. Okay. Also, low sugar, Fruits are good for you, things like berries, those don't have many sugars, and vegetables. And just like the conventional doctors say, sugar, alcohol, caffeine, those can be hot flash triggers. So you'll have to kind of experiment with it. If you have a lot of any of those, you may notice within an hour or two or three, you might have more hot flashes. Well, then that'll let you know, hey, I need to cut down, limit, or eliminate, right? Consuming some phytoestrogens are always good. And exercising, drinking a lot of water. There are herbal teas out there. There are supplements and herbs, and we'll talk about those a little bit more in depth in a minute. And bumping up your protein and your healthy fats, those are very helpful. And eating enough food, because I really find a lot of women that I talk to and that I'm working with, they want to lose weight, so they cut back on fats, but they don't realize it's not the fat per se, it's the type of fat. If you're eating more trans fat, just kind of junk food, that's not good for you, right? You want to eat more avocados, olive oil, coconut, nuts and seeds if you tolerate those. And you probably need more protein than what you're thinking, okay? So what are some ways that we can deal with cravings? Well, now, just want you to know this statistic. The recommended daily intake for sugar for women is about 25 grams, which is 6 teaspoons, which is about 100 calories worth. But you can easily exceed this if you let a craving overtake you, right? And even we talked about this in my sugar detox last week a whole lot, but there are many sugars in foods that are hidden from you. You may not know the common name, and so then that can affect you. And you're eating something you think is healthy, but it's really not. So it's good to be aware of that. But due to the hormonal fluctuations and the added stress, fatigue, your workload, your family responsibilities, cravings for sugar and carbs can be common. So here are some ways to naturally handle those. Limit your caffeine and replace it with water, infused water. Herbal teas are good. Don't drink your sugar. That's what I say all the time. A lot of the drinks out there, the energy drinks, the fancy coffees, soft drinks, they have a whole lot of sugar. And alcohol has a lot of sugar in it as well. So you probably want to eliminate that. Limit or eliminate that as well. Read your food labels. This is the most important thing. That'll let you know how much sugar. Now, if you're wanting something sweet and you're having a craving, then there are healthier ways to do that, right? Sweeter veggies like butternut squash, carrots, sweet potatoes, also fruit and even dates, a few of those, not too many, but a few of those, and even dark chocolate. When it's dark, it has less of the sugar and has more cacao, and that's actually got a lot of magnesium in it. And sometimes we have cravings for sugar when we are low in magnesium as well. Another thing, you want to eliminate the refined processed carbohydrates, the junk foods, the pastas, the breads. Like I said before, increase your protein, fiber, and your healthy fats. And there are plant-based sources of protein like quinoa is a good one. You can also use some protein powders. Just read the label for that. And sometimes women do better eating smaller portions, and it doesn't bother their tummy and just helps them keep their blood sugar level throughout the day. All right, so how to avoid a hot flash. This one, if you've never experienced one, you just don't understand. But when you do, I mean, these are just the craziest feeling. It's like the sudden, intense heat, and it just suddenly comes on. Now, some people gradually feel them coming on. I know with mine, it was like a sudden one, and it was tingling and just a fast heartbeat, even, and kind of a flushed face or sweating in the upper body. And it can really disrupt you. It can be embarrassing because you start sweating. But if you understand where they're coming from and maybe have some natural remedies that you can deal with, that's going to help you handle everything. Now, one interesting thing I found out is that in May of this year, so in May of 2023, they released a new medication called, and I know I'm not going to pronounce it right, but I'm going to try, fezolinetant, and it's not a hormone, but it's a medication to decrease the frequency and severity of flushing and sweating. I don't know much about it. It hadn't been out very long, but I wanted to mention that to you, and you could do some research if you want. All right, so it's not really clear what causes the hot flashes other than just the hormonal fluctuations during the perimenopausal menopausal stage. Doctors think it's probably due to the low estrogen and all. Also, if you are obese, if you have any kind of insulin resistance, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, that can actually worsen the hot flashes as well. But as I've talked about, the alcohol and caffeine can make it worse, and the sugar. Spicy foods can, which is common sense, right? If you're eating something spicy that has cayenne or peppers, those are spicy and makes your mouth kind of warm up. And it can, if you're having hot flashes, make those worse. Stress and anxiety can make it worse. And if you're hot already, if it's a hot summer day, you're probably going to be hotter. Also, if you wear tight clothes, you bend over, that can make your hot flashes. So just wear loose fitting clothes and squat rather than bending over. Sometimes those little strategies can help as well. All right, so how can you manage your stress? Menopause can be a very stressful period of time, and the other life changes going on, like I mentioned. Another thing that often happens with women during this time period is they become caregivers of their elder parents, and that can be very stressful as well. So you have a whole lot of demands on you, as well as the physical and emotional and mental changes. So it leads to more stress symptoms and all. But some ways that you can deal with it are exercise, finding joy in a new hobby or maybe a new job or some volunteer work. You can eat a balanced diet that's rich in nutrients. That does help your stress. Getting some good sleep, finding acceptance, through your faith, through Bible, prayer, some affirmations, and support from your family or friends is very important, as well as seeking counseling if you need it. So movement for anybody, and especially in menopause, can really be beneficial. I'm a big one in trying to walk and get outside with some natural light. That really helps me when I'm feeling kind of down or depressed or even feeling stressed out. I take a break, even if I'm like working on the computer, I'm like, okay, I got to go outside for a little bit. But if you haven't been doing anything, you just start with 15, maybe up to 30 minutes if you can tolerate it, of regular exercise. You can even start with just gentle walking around your block 2 to 5 days a week, and gradually increase this to get some movement back in your life. You're going to be amazed at how it really does bump up the dopamine level, that neurotransmitter in your brain, and it's going to help you feel happier as well. And you also want to find the type of exercise and movement that you enjoy, though, because then you're going to keep on doing it. Other things, biking, dancing, a low intensity class maybe at a local gym. And you can find, and you've got the social support there as well. Many people during this time period, they like swimming because it's cooling you off anyway, because you're in the water. Hiking or visiting nature trails. Then some people like things like yoga. So let's talk a little bit more in depth about some diet and how that can help you. I've mentioned a few of these already, but dairy or calcium rich foods can really have an impact on maintaining your bone health. Now, you don't want your levels to decrease, because you don't want to get osteopenia, which is kind of right before you get osteoporosis, because if you have bone problems, then you're more easily going to fracture a bone. Also, it's going to cause more joint pain as well. However, if you are sensitive to dairy, which I personally am, then there are non-dairy calcium-rich foods out there, like leafy greens, nuts, even oranges, and you can take some supplements as well. And there are some medications out there that you can get your doctor to order, but there are also some that, are prescription as well. Healthy fats, like I mentioned, you want to have more omega-3s, like from fatty fishes, nuts, olive oil, avocados, and coconut oil. That's going to really help you with the hot flashes, and it's just going to help you feel fuller longer, so you're not going to have a tendency to overeat. Phytoestrogens are in foods that you might enjoy already, like chickpeas, flax seeds, which you can throw into a smoothie or use that as kind of a flour base sub. Green tea, berries, grapes, and even barley are estrogen rich foods as well. Fresh fruits and veggies are very good, and they're going to supply vitamins and minerals, which are going to help you. And then the fresh meats and fish and legumes and beans, if you tolerate those, and quinoa, or some plant-based proteins as well. So what are some supplements and herbal remedies? Well, there's a lot of them out there, but I do want to caution you, please speak to your own medical or health practitioner first before you use any of these, because some of these can have a reaction with a medication you might be on. So you want to clear it with your health practitioner and all. One is black cohosh, which can help with hot flashes and night sweats. Another one is red clover that helps with hot flashes, and also it helps with bone density. Another one is Don Quai, which has been used with other herbs to relieve some of those symptoms of menopause, and even during PMS, some women use it. Evening primrose, which can help with the hot flashes. Maca, which can help with mood balance and libido. Holy basil can help maintain a balance in your hormones and help with stress. And there are also some homeopathic remedies that have benefits. And so that's another area that you can research as well. But just check with your health practitioner before you go out and start using these. So another biggie, and a lot of times people think, oh, this won't help. It really does. You want to find ways, and you want to prioritize finding ways to find joy in your life. Okay. You may be doing everything right with diet, your lifestyle. You've implemented a lot of the changes that I've already talked about, but finding joy when you're going into a new season of life, especially if you've had children and they're gone, that can cause some issues and some, mental and emotional pain. I know personally, I have experienced that as well. That's been kind of hard for me. But some women look forward to it and they don't have any problems with that. But finding joy, if you are still living and breathing, the good Lord is not done with you, right? He has purpose for you, and you want to find that for this season of your life. So also, mindset is very important, and some mindset exercises can help you. I really believe in journaling, once a day. I like to do it in the morning. I'll write down things that I'm grateful for. I also write down a Bible verse and prayers, daily affirmations, just things that you say like, I love my life. I'm happy and healthy. I choose to eat healthy today. I'm welcoming this change. I'm choosing joy today, or God loves me and I still have a purpose. Putting those around your house, in your car, even on your phone to pop up at different times of the day, that can help you. I know it's helped me and also my clients as well, just as a great reminder. And meditation, which really is just thinking, is just spending some time to kind of think about your day, what you were put here on earth for, thinking about other people, praying for them, finding ways that you can kind of accept where you are right now. And then another thing is just getting outside in nature, and maybe you want to walk and be outside, and you can pray and think, listen to some positive podcasts, which I always like doing too. But any of those things, as well as finding times to relax, maybe do some deep breathing, those are all ways to kind of help you naturally. So relationships are a big one, because if you're not going through something, you might not really understand. So you might have family members that don't really understand what you're going through, and it's kind of affecting the relationship. Well, you want to find ways to express and communicate to your loved ones what's going on with you? You're not just lashing out and you're not moody just because you're mad at them. So, of course, if you do that, you want to apologize, but you want to help them realize what period you're in your life so that they can cut you a little bit of grace, right? Um, and you may need to do a timeout. I have had to do timeouts for myself personally in the past. And so if you have to do that, then you do that before you say something you're going to later regret. All right, so let's discuss kind of how we are putting all this in action. I'm going to do a little recap and we're going to just kind of talk about how you can transition into a healthier and balanced life, whether you're in perimenopause, menopause, or beyond. All right, so you want to take note of your hot flash triggers and be mindful of what you're eating, your lifestyle, your stress, your sleep, um, and all that's going to kind of help you begin to figure out what's going to work best for you and your body. So, like we talked about, there's some herbal remedies that can be effective, and there are some homeopathic. There are supplements that you can take as well as the diet. And the mindset exercises that I talked about, are so key. I mean, I believe those are key for anybody, but especially during this time period for you as well. And so menopause is at 12 months after you haven't had a period. Perimenopause is signaling the approach of menopause, and it's when you start experiencing some of those symptoms, but it's just a natural part of life. Everybody experiences it differently. Some have mild, some have a more intense, the mood swings, hot flashes, loss of energy, and sleep disturbances. But you can use both conventional, medical, and natural remedies. And personally, that's what I've done. I do use some bioidentical hormones, and I do healthier eating and some lifestyle management with sleep and stress as well. And I find all of those work best for me, but you have to figure out what's going to work for you. So, like I mentioned, the hot flashes can be triggered by things that often we eat and we drink, or things that we do and we don't think about it. Like the caffeine. You may have to start limiting your caffeine, or maybe you can have it in the morning, but don't have it past 12 noon. You may need to limit spicy food, or maybe only have it in the morning and for lunch, but don't have spicy food for dinner, right? And then the sugar and, some of the other things that we talked about. So the dietary changes, exercise, the stress management, the sleeping, the herbal, all of those can help with those negative implications. Just remember, your perspective on this is key. So you want to find ways to be joyful during it, right? Be grateful during the circumstances. You're not grateful for what's going on, but you can find ways to experience joy. It's just going to help you handle it better. So let's focus on some other things. If you feel like your menopausal, perimenopausal symptoms are controlling your life and you're unhappy where you are right now, I'm not sure exactly why you showed up today, but maybe you're struggling. Maybe you have tried some options I've already talked about, but you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. So I want to just explain for a few minutes how you can incorporate some of those and how you can work with me if you'd like to do that. So menopause doesn't have to control your life. I hope you see that after what I've shared today. There are many natural remedies and other things that you can do so that you can accept and live with it. So how has my life changed after, I'm postmenopausal now? Well, I have an autoimmune disease and have had some IBS GI issues. So I was already eating pretty healthy and exercising at the time. And I eat gluten-free all the time. And I eat dairy-free majority of the time with just an occasional treat, for special event or vacation. But I do follow an anti-inflammatory diet most of the time, which helps me. But I know that sugar has been just a hard one for me on and off throughout the years. The cravings can get worse for me. And so I do better if I really limit my sugar. That's one reason why I do talk about it a lot in my programs and on social media and in my emails, because I know how much eating low to no sugar really does help me, what my body, my mind, my soul, and all. And sometimes I'm wanting it just because I'm bored, right? Or maybe that's you. You're lonely or you're tired. Well, we need to find other ways to satisfy that rather than food and sugar, right? But most of my clients find that if they stay on top of their nutrition and they're eating the whole real foods, they feel better. They're less prone to cravings. And so I know, like I mentioned, I've combined with that with some bioidentical hormones, and that works really well for me. But I want to help you figure out what's going to work best for you. So think about for a minute how your life could change for the better. I want to help you figure out how you can be symptom free or at least decrease a lot of the symptoms. So let me share my system that I have. It's worked for me and my clients as well. And so you have a choice. You can take what I've shared today and go on your way and implement it, which is perfectly great. But I want to share how you can take advantage of my health coaching services that has helped me and many other women as well. So this is a customizable system that I've used to help my clients improve their quality of life and live happier even during menopause and menopause. Yes, it can be done. So I call it Nourished Inside Out, and we focus on nourishing your body physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Our hormones are not affected just by the physiological changes of the hormones, even though those are a big part, but how we think and feel about ourselves, our stress, our relationships, our jobs. Do we like what we're doing? Do we like where we are in life? Do we think God still has a purpose for us? And more. All that affects us. And that's what I talk about in my program. And so it builds upon the information that I talked and shared with you today, but it takes it to a higher level because I personalize it for you. So it's designed to help you kick your cravings, satisfy you with your diet, help improve your energy and mood, and help you fit into your clothes better. I know that those are very important things that most women tell me about. We focus on your goals and your purpose in life, your relationships, your mindset. We focus on what you're eating physically on your plate, but also what may be eating you, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. We also talk about movement, how that can decrease some of your symptoms and help with your weight control as well. So my program gives you more knowledge and tools than I was able to share today due to the time, and ways that you can start working on your health. So after completing it, you're going to be able to gain control of your eating, your health, your perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms. And here's what you're going to get. It's a 90-day program, so it's 3 months. You're going to get one-on-one health coaching from me. You're going to have a sample meal plan with some cheat sheets and checklists, actionable steps. We're going to meet for the first 4 every week, once a week. Then after that, it's every 2 weeks. Private messaging. I have a private Facebook group. The total value is around $1,400 to $2,000, but I'm not going to charge that at all. Okay. You're going to find out that once you can stick to your food plan and the lifestyle protocol, you're going to be able to reach your health goals. And that's the whole point of this and all. But let me share a few testimonials. This was a client of mine, and she said, I've learned countless ways to improve my poor eating habits. I never felt pressure or condemnation from Leah. As she says, small steps are the best. And I do believe in that. That's what I do personally as well. But I'm also in the program going to offer an Understanding Your Why worksheet, some common names of sugar handout, because it is so important for these stages, and effects of stress visuals. So you're going to get those as well. Another testimonial is from RG, and she said, Leah provides you with sound information and tips on healthy eating, supplements, and more. Having to be accountable is exactly what I needed. And that accountability piece is what a lot of times people say, I think I could do this, but I can do it better and quicker if I have somebody to keep me accountable. And I have a money back guarantee. If you do the program for 14 days, and if you're not satisfied, and I will refund your money. I want you to be confident investing in this, but I really want you to invest in your health and your future, right? So if you do it and you show me that you've been working on it and you say it's not a good fit, I will refund your money, no problem. So one last testimonial. So VP said, I was in a dreadful place, having used up my last energy leg. She says, help was needed. We started on the program, didn't reinvent the wheel. I took steps that I could achieve, and we did very baby steps with this client. But she says she certainly feels better about herself and the world in general. And oftentimes that's how clients feel. So you can get started with me today. You can reach out to me at my email, leah@nurturingyourlife.com, or you can set up an appointment here with my Calendly scheduling. And the 90-day program is normally at $690, but I'm offering a special savings for you today. You're going to save $143, and it's only, so the program is going to be $547, and this is good for, you have a whole week until October 29th. And I offer a payment plan. You can pay in full or in 2 payments. So let me go over some frequently asked questions, and then I'll open it up for questions you might have. So here's what one person asked me. Can I use your program in place of medical hormonal treatment? Well, really, communication is the key, as I've stressed, right? Quite often, clients include both their medical doctor and me in their approach to working on their health and their lifestyle. The program is designed to help you figure out and pinpoint your symptoms and your triggers and what's going to help you, right? And so it can be used by itself without having intervention from a medical practitioner, or we can use it as a conjunction, which I really do love to do that. What's the effectiveness? Well, the effectiveness is going to vary depending upon you, right? We're all different. We all react differently to foods, environment, stress levels. I like to kind of call it your health bucket. Some buckets are going to overflow more than others. The effectiveness is going to depend also on how willing you are to stick to the program. And how long does it take to see results? Well, it really depends on you. This program is 90 days. I do have some clients that want to go on for a total of 6 months, so 3 more months. I have tried offering it before as a 1 month or even a 2 month, but I find you really need those 3 months to implement the strategies and all the changes and to help you realize that you can do it. It's just the 3 month is really kind of the minimal to start seeing the changes that most women want to see. But some will start seeing some changes within the first 14 days. And but it really depends upon how consistent you are and your willingness to do the work. What can I expect after going through it? Well, you can expect to have more clarity about your unique journey, right? What symptoms and what triggers you're having as you go through perimenopause and menopause. And hopefully you are going to find some strategies that really do help you just in your life and in your health goals as well. You know, that's my goal, is to help you improve your quality of life and find and build healthier habits that you can use long term. All right, so the investment, as I mentioned, is $547 for 90 days. You can, I have a typo. This 700 is supposed to be $690. Sorry about that. But the special prices are good until October 29th. And I'll send you, if you want to pay in 2 payments, I'll send you an invoice halfway through. And for those of you who are here live, my special bonus is I have a workbook called, it's the Menopause Workbook, and it has some of the great information we talked about today in it, as well as a trigger worksheet. So it's my gift to you for being here live today. So I thank you for that. And so you can get started with my savings until October 29th. And so just reach out to me. We can set up a time to talk. No pressure at all. I am not a high pressure salesperson at all. The testimonials and just me helping people feel better, that is what makes me want to continue doing this. But reach out to me. We can talk and figure out if it'll be a good fit for you as well. So I thank you so much for joining me today, and I appreciate you taking your time. I'm going to end the slideshow, and I'll stop the recording. But if any of you are here live, I will be happy to answer questions. But if any of you are viewing this and we're not live, please reach out to me. My email is leah@nurturingyourlife.com, or you can reply to the emails, or on social media, just DM me. So thank you so much for joining me. All right. Stop share. All right. I have stopped the recording. All right. Let me see. Hang on.